the room. There's a blue button. Aha, there you go. Hopefully you got it now. Great. So welcome everybody to LinkedIn Breakfast. Welcome anybody who's catching this on the replay. We are going to be talking about LinkedIn automation today, and particularly talking about outreach and the type of software that we use to be able to generate a lot of connection requests, lots of messaging, and really kind of run our LinkedIn profile. So that's the idea today. No slides. This is all going to be me jumping on a blackboard to show you the strategy, me showing you the software, and I've also got a swipe file for you of the exact messages that I use that you can go and swipe and use for yourself. And so everybody, as long as you are still here in about 10 minutes, so hopefully I can steal 10 minutes of your time at least this morning, I will be able to get that swipe file to you when it becomes appropriate within this section of the presentation. I kind of riff for like 15, 20 minutes, and then we go into a Q&A for another 20 minutes, and we'll be done with you by around about 1:45. So hopefully you can buckle your seatbelts for some marketing madness as we dive into LinkedIn automation this morning. So here we go, gang. And welcome, by the way, of people that are just entering the room. There's been a few people as I started talking. So let me just jump onto a blackboard and give you the thesis about what we're trying to achieve today. So let me just share screens now. And, oh, that was the wrong thing. Here you go. Can you see a black screen now? Yeah. Okay. Thumbs up. Good stuff. All right. Okay. Let me get the pen of truth and justice as we go through this. So whenever we're trying to create a campaign, gang, just remember this. And I love the fact that when I have regulars on here, they'll go, "Oh, you're about to go do the awareness, consider, convert thing again." I want to constantly bring people back to this structure of you've got to build awareness, you've got to build consideration, you've got to move people to convert, and then you get to deliver for them. What do I mean by this? I mean that we need to find your target audience somehow, and I'm going to show you how today. And then once we find your target audience, we need to connect with them so they are aware of you. It's all fair and good, seeing that these are business owners, that are, running a company that is within, 10 to 20 employees, and they're in the tech sector. But actually, do they know that you're an accountant? So this is the whole point. So if for example, you're an accountant, right? So we need to connect with them, and we need to then start doing some actions, such as sending them some messages. Maybe once we're also connecting, we're sending some posts, we're doing some articles, maybe they're seeing some content. But really, this is just them just kind of being aware that you do accounting-y type of stuff or some business coaching type of stuff, right? Then we need to send them a series of messages. And the whole point of those series of messages isn't to go, "Hey, buy my stuff. Let's have a sales meeting." Because if we do that, then we're missing out a huge section, which is this consideration section. And the whole point of what we try and do whenever we're doing any sort of messaging is to move someone to going, "Hey, I'm aware that you're an accountant," to, "I wonder if you're actually a good accountant. And I wonder if you're actually interested in what you say." So for example, you might put together an event around tax strategy. You might put an event around actually what just happened at the budget. And so now I'm thinking, "Oh, okay, like I quite like what you're saying about all this sort of stuff. Actually, I see how that kind of could relate to me." And so therefore we want to point these messages, and also this type of content, posts, articles, maybe you're doing some lives, the sort of stuff we're talking about in LinkedIn Breakfast, maybe you've got a LinkedIn newsletter. And we need to point all of that again to this consideration asset. We believe this should be an event. So important. Why do I like events, by the way? People subscribe with their email address and name when they want to come to an event, which gives you the opportunity to follow them up, add them to other events, market to them. So if you haven't got this in your world, you're missing out, because you're going basically, "Hey, here's some awareness, buy my stuff. Here's some awareness, buy my stuff," right? And we've all been connected and pitched before. And that's what we want to not do. We want to do this in a classy, nice way to be able to foster discussion, which I'm going to show you today, right? So here we go, straight into this, into message. And then once we go to get them then they go into, if they're going, oh, okay, I see that you've got some good things to say about accountancy. Actually, yes, I would have a conversation with you about maybe being my accountant. So we go, I'm aware of you from that you are an accountant. I see that you actually quite like what you're saying about accountancy stuff, to I wonder if you could help me with my accountancy, to then I go and buy from you, and then you are my accountant. And that's the transition. That's the everybody talks about a funnel, but actually for me, it's more like a movement of how someone feels about you through this, by having methods for awareness, an asset for consideration, and then a way to move people into that conversation about working with them. So let me show you how I can automate a load of this stuff via LinkedIn. So the software that we talk about is, let me just remove this and go on to here, is something called Leadith. Alex, do you want to just put up your digital hand in here? Here, just put your, I think Alex is here. We partner with Alex. If he's not here, if he doesn't ping it up, I can't see it. But there he is, Alex. There, good stuff. So Alex here from Leadith is on this call here, and we are working with Alex, and this is the software we recommend. Look, there is loads of different softwares out there that potentially you could use, and in fairness, and obviously we picked this one, but in fairness, there's other things that we like, such as Expandy. There's other things that are out there that do this sort of stuff, but you want to choose something that's good and safe and actually works well. And so for us, we like Leadith, and this is what we're using. Okay. Now, if you wanted to have a chat about this, then reach out to us and the team. We're going to email you with some links and even a discount for this. So let us know, and then we can sort you out with that if you are interested in this. But regardless of that, let me just show you this, because I want to give you the theory first, right? So these are the type of campaigns that we've been running, and I've got some different campaigns and stuff that I've been working on. And when we talk about running a campaign, what we're trying to do is we're trying to put those sets of messages together to be able to run those messages. So if we go back to here, this connection request and message is what we want to try and do. So why don't we start on the left-hand side in awareness first, and I will give you a bit of a flavor on how we want to build awareness. Is that we need to know who we're going to target. So the best place, in my opinion, to find people is to actually look at something called Sales Navigator. It's a really good, deep search tool, and we talk about it a few times within LinkedIn for Breakfast, and you're welcome to go and check this out. You can do a little free trial with Sales Navigator, but you can do a search, and the search gives you some great information. So for example, we can go onto lead filters here. We can go and actually say, well, how big is the current headcount of companies? So we want them to be, within this kind of range. But we don't want them to be in other ranges. We want to go and actually look at what type of function does the company do. And we could be operations or accounting or administrative. And we can see that's the type of operation for the person within that role, to be fair. So they are within those departments of this. We can then go and look at their job title. We can look at the seniority that they've got within the business. Are they strategic? Are they entry level? Are they are they the owner partner? Are they the director? So you can start to see how you can go really deep on some of these searches. You can then start to go, well, what geography? So actually, we want them to be EMEA or UK based, or I want them to be from Surrey. I want them to be from Luton Town, right? So you can actually really go deep on terms of where they are, and then how do we get to them? And then also you can go into industry sector. So what I'm showing you here really quickly is that you can do a great search and get really, really deep on this. And if I just ping up some save searches, you can see here. So these are some of the clients that we work with. And these are, we've got loads of different searches in here that we do for clients. And there's just tons of way of doing it. But I'm going to go down to the bottom here, which is one of the searches that we do. So you can see here, these are coaches in the UK and Ireland active in the last 30 days, right? So this is the type of search that we do. And you can see here, there's 501 new results since this date. So if I go and view this search, this is the search that we're going to build out a campaign from today, because this is my search. So I look at people that own their own company, consulting and entrepreneurship, people who are coaches, etc. So this is me doing a coaching type of target. And actually, here's the results of these people. And then I can see the 500 new people that have joined this search. And so this is what I'm going to use is this 501 new people, right? So now I'm seeing all the new people that have joined this search, and I can use this search to go and target them, right? So I'm going to go back to Leadiff, and I want to put together a campaign. So this is the current campaign that I'm running. And in this campaign, it's basically going to run a set of activities, okay? So the activities that I want this campaign to do is I want it to go and view a profile because I want it to look natural. So it goes and views someone's profile. I then want it to send a connection message to someone, right? So then this is the connection message it's going to say, which is, hey, just a friendly hello, crazy upside down world. Then I want it to wait 3 days, and I want it to then view the profile again. And if it hasn't responded, like 3 posts automatically, the last 3 posts on that person's, and then I want to send it a message. And this message, if I just open it up, is all about, hey, do you want to come join our cool LinkedIn for Breakfast thing? And here's our free school community, right? And then I'm going to get it. If no one replies, then I'm going to wait 2 weeks, and then I'm going to ask a question. So we're kind of going question, call to action, question, call to action, question, right? And so that's how this works. And then we're going to wait 28 days, and then we're going to then send another message, which is then, hey, I recently ran a thing. Do you want to replay one of my sessions? And then again, do a final one, which I call the semi-breakup, which says, hey, I'm generally interested in asking about you, but would you say LinkedIn's not the best place to go? I see that in fact you haven't responded above means it hasn't, right? So the person will run through this up until the point that they respond. And if they respond, then it stops it automatically. So as promised, if you want this exact file here, this is my swipe file, RWs, that's me, LinkedIn Outreach templates, right? And this is the exact view page. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And so if you want to have that and have a little look at those, I'm going to chuck it into the chat now. So as soon as you can see that, just say yeah. And also, Flora, if we can make sure that we send this on an email to everybody so they can also have that attachment. But if you can just click on that and then have that saved on a different tab, then you'll be able to get hold of this nice outreach template. Cool. So that's how we've been able to put this together. Now, what you'll see here is that if I go back to campaigns, that this campaign actually has got no more people into it. So we've got only 5 people, and we've contacted 800 people already in this, right? So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to do a really simple thing, which is go onto my Sales Navigator search. I've got my new people here. So saying the 254 new results are here, and I've got 1,000 results that are the older campaign. So I'm simply going to copy this URL here. I'm going to go back to my Leadiff campaign. I'm going to add new search. I'm going to make it a Sales Navigator search. But the beauty of this, I can search based upon the action on someone's post. I can search an event. So anybody registered for an event that doesn't even have to be my event, I can add those people into this campaign. Anybody's in a group, I can add those into the campaign. And there's other things in here, like I can upload CSV files, etc. But look, here's a Sales Navigator list URL. Bosh, like that. And I can then go for it, add search. Oh, hang on. Let's try and do this again. LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Let's try and do this one more time. Here we go. Control C. And just make sure I'm doing this the right place. Search URL. Navigator list URL. Or is it? There you go. Sorry. Search URL or Navigator search URL. I was just doing it in the wrong place. There we go. Add search. I thought it was going to go all wrong then, but it's all good. So now that's gone up to here, and then I can go back to campaigns. Oh, press save. Save changes, always save changes. And now once this search is done, let's just make sure that that actually worked. Save changes. And then that search should go into here. And in a second, we'll start to see this, go up to 800 odd, and then this will then start to then be refed, and that will start to rework. So the beauty of this is that now I'm just topping up. I'm topping up. Once I've got my search sorted, I'm then just topping this up with new people. And every time I need a new person, then I'll keep on topping up, and it will keep on running this campaign. Now, when this happens, we'll then start to get replies. And so now I can go into an inbox that's embedded within this tool, and I can actually start to look at the different replies. So apologies if you're on this call, if you start to see this. But for example, this is a reply that I recently got. Let's just see what happens. So look, one of those messages I've sent already. The second message I sent. The third message, when I asked a question, actually now I got a reply, right? And so this is why having this type of system works really well, because this person didn't reply on the first or the second message, but the third message she did. And so that's a good example. So I think, well, actually, what am I going to do with this? They say, great. And then I can go back and actually, I can actually start to send a message back to them. Or I could use one of my templates, and you can upload templates to this, which is how you can then start to delegate this to someone else to do for you. They might say, yeah, so I might just do a thing here that says I want to promote the group. So if we want a few interesting exec assignments with a firm, and then I can say, yeah, that sounds interesting. This feels a little bit disingenuous, so I'd work upon this a little bit more. But what we're trying to say is then I can loop back to the group, or I could use a different template, which is, something to say, crazy world, whatever it is. And I can have different templates that replied based upon the responses that they go back. Or if I wanted to, I could use this thing, which is a magic thing that is a bit of AI, and I can generate a professional response and suggest to book a meeting. And it should generate now. Here you go. Hi, Tia, your project sounds intriguing. Would you be open to scheduling a meeting to discuss possible synergies between our work? Right? So that's been an AI generated response based upon what they've said. So I didn't even have to think about it. It's just giving me an idea. Now, again, that might just be a basis for me editing it, but it really does help you to kind of get through the volume of replies, right? Let's have a look at another one. So Rose in here saying, great. So I've just put that. I talked about the group, and she's gone, I'm sorry for not getting back to you earlier. I've signed up. It would be great to know more from a personal point of view, and as well as being able to advise clients. So this is cool. So now not only has she joined the group, she's also saying she'd like to know a little bit more, and therefore I could then progress her to potentially having a virtual coffee with me. So join the group, great. So she's doing consideration because she's in the group. Next stage would be then to go on to actually have a personal meeting. Rosie, if you're in this call, or Tia, if you're in this call, I'm really sorry. But those will be the only two demos that we'll be able to give out there. Cool. So that's how we can work the messaging and how we can work the direct calls. Now what we want to think about is actually how do we go and sort of work through this system to be able to actually use it for even more, right? And so this system allows you to also send emails. And so you can use this to send a cold email campaign, right? So I can upload searches to this, and I can start to send emails. Now, this is a little bit advanced, so I'm going to kind of just very briefly show you this just so you can see its possibilities, but then come back to the room and take some questions in a second, right? So this is how you can send cold emails, which is you can put some databases into this. It then sends an email out to people, again, talking about come to the group. If someone opens the email, but doesn't click, then we can then send them another email. If they do click, then we can send a webhook to be able to push their database into our subscriptions, into our email list, and then we can go and start to prospect them there. If they don't open the email, we can then look at actually, can we enrich the profile? So this software allows you to kind of find more databases and then send another email and do some other clever stuff. So yeah, we can then try again if they don't open the email with another email and work it through that way. So essentially what we've got, if we go back to our list here, is we've got messages that we can go into people. We've got emails that we can go into consideration. And then from there, we can open the door for people booking calls with you. Cool. So what I want to be able to, let me just loop back. Here we go. Cool. What I want to be able to say to you guys is that, look, this stuff really does work if you get it right. Now, I know it takes a little while to set up, and I know that you might go, oh, wow. And that's the whole point of today, is to show you, hey, this stuff's possible. There's loads that you can do. There's lots of different software. I can see people asking different questions about different software in the chat. Why don't we have a conversation about your business and how we can help? Because basically, we can either show you, like we've just done, how you could do it yourself, or we could actually do it for you. We've got a team that are able to not just help you to do things like the automation stuff, which is a small part of it, but we want to be able to send messages, write messages for you, and create your weekly event for you, and follow up your weekly event to book sales meetings for you. We want to do that whole piece. And we're currently running a fantastic program that includes all of that activity within our $1 Million Experiment Accelerator. So we essentially do it for you. So if you are interested in having that help and support, or even just learning a little bit more about this, then let me just open up my diary to you guys for doing that. And then I'll open up for some questions. So on our website here, there's a great page in here that says reserve your $1 Million Sprint Strategy session. And we've got some sessions. I've got one session today, and I've got two, by the looks of things, on Thursday. So you can jump in onto one of those. So let me just actually get the link for you. So I should probably send a different link, actually, because I think there's some more availability on this link. And then you can book personally with me to have the conversation about this. Just a 30-minute call, nothing too scary. But it will allow me just to show you a few of these things, get some more swipe files across to you if you want to. That's in the chat. Can you see it in the chat, gang? Give us a thumbs up if you can see that in chat. Wicked. Okay. So in there, you and I will have a chat. That's personally with me. And I will be able to take you through how this could actually work directly for your business. Wicked. Thoughts, questions? How and what have we seen? And let's just round table this, gang. So into the room. What do we see? James says, can you run multiple accounts? Yes, you can run multiple accounts. So you could have 3 or 4 employees that are running this. Same thing through that. We certainly work with clients that have got multiple accounts that are running. So they've got 3 or 4 different salespeople that we're running those accounts for. I say yes.
Hello, Richard. Thank you. And it's lovely. I have a question. How do you retarget, let's say, prospects that are different? For example, if someone registers to your event, I think it should be targeted to a new campaign. If someone has a call with you, it should be targeted. But how do we do that? Because it's how it is automated.
Yeah. So as soon as someone replies, the automation stops. So that's the most important thing to say. So when someone replies, it stops and you wait. So all those responses that you saw, that all then goes into bespoke conversation. So that helps. Now, if someone just happens to click on the link and doesn't let you know they clicked on a link, then what you can do is you could actually do a bit of a Zapier type situation. So if you don't know Zapier, it's like an API technology that speaks to different softwares. So that probably didn't even make sense if you don't want to talk about. What do you mean? If it basically says if someone who's in this campaign finds themselves in your community, say for example for me, they find themselves in my school group, I can send a zap back for every person that joins the school group to this software to say, hey, remove anybody here from that campaign. The same can happen when someone becomes a client. You can zap someone from, say, your zero, if you do it from your accounts, or even just a tag within your email campaign to say they've actually become a client. You can then push that back to the software to say stop.
Thank you.
So it's just that type of stuff is that's the techie bit. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then that's the stuff that I can walk you through and help you with. Yeah, so jump on a call for sure.
Thank you.
Further questions, gang? So Charlotte says, I bet the system would work best for B2B rather than B2C for gut health. No, actually it wouldn't, because it's that's where the group search comes in. So we're currently working with a client that is looking to work with people who have long-term illnesses like MS, for example. And you can still find people based upon that. Now, you can't find people with through a sales navigator search like industry, size of business, etc. But what you can do, let's just do a live demo, is that we can go onto LinkedIn and there was something about gut health, I think, in the question. So what we can do is we can do search for gut health, and we can now go and look for. So now we've got gut health as a search. We can go to groups, and there's kind of two ways we can do this. So here we go. So the Poultry Gut Health Forum. I'm not sure if that's actually for poultry or if that's for humans. I'm not sure, but regardless, there's 2,000 people there interested about gut health. Maybe this group's a bit better, right? So the microbiome, etc. group, there's 8,000 people in there. So we would join that group. We would then go to that group and we would find it in Sales Navigator. So if I go to Sales Navigator here and do a new search, I would then be able to. So let me just do a completely new search. Obviously, I'm not a member of that group. The one thing you have to be able to do is become a member of that group. Now, there's 8,000 people in there. I'm sure there's not a hard entry criteria to be a member of it. But let's just take one of the groups that I'm a member of, right? So I'll give you a real life example. If I wanted, and this is going to look a bit weird, but if I wanted to just target women for a particular campaign, like we did a women in business International Women's Day thing. It wasn't just for women because we opened it up for everybody, but we did do a thing on there. You can actually go, for example, to women's groups, right? So here's some women's groups that I'm actually a member of for my sins, and I can actually add these in like this. And now I've got a number of women's groups that we're part of. And sorry if this is going to be like a bit of a it looks a bit naughty, but anyway, here's all these lovely ladies that there. So if I want to target a female only search criteria, which you can't do by doing a tick box here, I can target these groups. And then I go, well, actually, I want to go and only target women in the UK. So then I'll go United Kingdom in here. I can include that. And now I have my 3,000 results has gone to 944 women that are in the UK and also as part of women in business groups. So I know that these are female business owners. Now I could actually then go seniority level, and I could then go, well, I only want to work with people who are kind of owner partners or director level. And now my 900 goes to, I'm not sure why that went to entry level there. But now I've got 135. So these are my female founders that I'm going after. Now that's a very popular search. So I know a lot of coaches that we work with or other business owners work with want to go for female founders. Bam, I just showed you how to do that. You can do exactly the same with gut health. So you could go into this gut health group and then you could become a member of that group. And then you could go, well, actually, I only want to work with the ones in the UK that are interested in gut health, that are in business, who are a senior level in business so they can afford whatever I'm selling, or work in the HR departments because I want to sell a corporate training program for gut health into the corporates. And so you can work in that way. Or I just want to work with the individuals. And so I just want to work with anybody in there because my B2C product is totally eligible for doing that, right? And so you just got to think about, well, where do birds of a feather fly together? And that's where they're flying. The other way of doing it is finding a really popular post on LinkedIn, something that's got a load of different comments from maybe a gut health influencer. And then you can scrape that post, find all the people that are liking that post and then go after them as well. So yes, Charlotte, it would definitely work with B2C as well. So that helps. Cool. So Jenny's talking about how does it capture email addresses, please? Is it based on people's email addresses they use on a LinkedIn profile? Right. So when we are taking email addresses to do the cold email stuff, when we're doing these searches, if someone has publicly made their email address available on their LinkedIn profile, then that's the sort of thing that we're trying to find. So when you'll go onto someone's address onto LinkedIn, and let's just go to, I don't know, someone in my network here. Let's look at my connections. And Look at this. Now, I have no idea. I have no idea if this person's going to have an email address on here, but Luke here has got his profile on here, his contact information. Thanks, Luke, for not letting me down. And so I'm connected with Luke, or I'd like to be connected with Luke, and I'm going to take Luke's instructions on how. Hello. I'm going to take Luke's instructions on how he would like to be contacted. So if I wanted to send him an email, he wants me to use that email. If he wants me to send him a letter, I can use this address. If he wants me to give him a ring, I can do that. If you want me to follow him on YouTube, etc., I can go there, right? And so that is why, personally, and remember, let me have a. Was I actually sharing there? Was I sharing screens? Guys, you've got to do me a favor and actually tell me if I'm not sharing screens. Come on. Look, it's a two-way thing, guys. I need the feedback as well. Okay, right. Here's Luke. How did I find Luke? I went to my connections. He was just the first one at the top of my connections. This is Luke here, right? On Luke's profile, here's his page. And if I click on this button here, which is contact info, this is the contact info that he wants me to use to contact him because it's publicly available. And on here, he's got his website, his YouTube address, his phone number. I can send him a nice little parcel if I wanted to. And also I can send him an email, right? It is down to Luke to tell me how he wants to be contacted. Now let me have another look at you guys, right? Because you didn't tell me that. So let me just make it clear. This is light entertainment with Richard in the morning. Your opinion on how you approach your own stuff, on how you do this, it's entirely down to you. I'm just jazz hands, right? And I'm based in, I don't know, Luxembourg. So this is not advice for anybody based in the UK. So don't do what I'm telling you. But look, that's my opinion. Okay, my opinion is Luke's asking me to contact him on that email address. I have an event that I think would be great for Luke. It's designed specifically for people like Luke. And so therefore, as a connection of mine, I would like to connect with him and say, hey, Luke, just saw your email address, which you put on your LinkedIn profile to contact you. Do you fancy coming to my event? And if he says yes, great. If he says no, great. Doesn't matter. And so that's what I'm saying. I take this as being like your maths homework. You'd like your maths exam where you got 1 point for getting the answer right and 1 point for showing you're working. Just always show you're working, right? How did I get the email address? Well, he offered it up on LinkedIn, so therefore I emailed him because I wanted to contact him. Right. So there you go. Anyway, back into the room then, gang. Further questions. How can I help? How can we help? Thoughts? Just before I take the next question, gang, do remember, let's just jump back into the shared thing. If you want to talk to us about how this would work and talk to me personally about exactly how this can actually help, here's my link in there to book in with me. Thank you guys for the ones that have booked in already. My phone's been vibrating with people have done that. So there's the link in there to jump into having a call with me about this stuff today, tomorrow, maybe next week. And I'd love to show you how we could put this campaign together, but we could actually do all of this stuff for you and just take it away, right? Just get rid of it. And most people are blown away about how inexpensive that actually can be. So have a look at it. Check it out. Into the room, gang. Questions. Who wants to share a thought? Mark, go for it.
Yes, you mentioned Leadith for doing like a lot of the automation. Are there any other? I mean, I'm sure there's millions, but any others that you've used to compare with?
Yep. The other one that we were using before Leadith was Expanding, which I really like. And so that works well. Leadith was a bit stronger on support and email marketing as well. So that's why, I mean, look, Alex is in here asking questions, so answering questions. So, you know, that's a pretty good sign as far as I'm concerned in terms of, you know, the willingness for support. on this. I didn't even ask him to be here, so that's great. That's the whole point of this. He's in our network and actually is part of this and comes to this, and so he's a really good guy. And actually, you know, anybody who's kind of mentions this call, etc., I know that he looks after in terms of a pricing for this. And of course, it's what we plug into and help when we're supporting clients as well. So really worth you know, thinking about that. But Expandy works, and then there's a load of other ones in there, but I can't speak to those because I've never used them. So
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
No worries, man. Further thoughts, gang? Into the room. Questions. Who wants to share any experiences that they've had? Go for it, Jake.
It's only a quickie on this tools selection business. Yes, there are lots of differences, but most of them can do the same thing. If you're not techie, you will find tools out there that are really, really cheap. And if you're not techie and you can't evaluate how they actually work, please don't use them, because there were questions in the chat saying, will it get my account banned? There are some really technical things that can be done in order to make that very unlikely, but a lot of the tools don't use them. So unless you're equipped to evaluate the tools properly from a technical perspective, just go with something that someone has used it a lot that can recommend. So Rich has mentioned a couple. Why go anywhere else? That's all I'd say.
Thanks, Jake. I love it. Just to give you some data on that, by the way, 100 connection requests a week is the max that you want to do. So we recommend 20 a day for 5 days. But also the beauty of something like a Leadith is it varies that 20. So you give it a range of like 20 to 18 a day or 20 to 17 a day, and it will vary that. Why? Because it wants to make it look natural. Whereas if LinkedIn's going 20, 20, 20, 20, it's going to go, well, that feels like a little bit automated. And so it might ping your account. And when they say ban your account, so this is the other thing, like, ban your account. It's about they pause you for 2 to 3 days to start off with, which is a wrist slap. And then they'll do it again. And then they'll do it again. And I've only known one person who's actually been banned. And that's because they had a fleet of people in the Philippines working on their one account regularly, sending thousands of activity. And when they got banned, when they got paused a couple of times, they just thought they'd go back and do exactly the same the next day. Just yeah. Anyway, wasn't one of my clients, but that was the complaint that they were giving when they came to me and talked to me about what had happened. So so we put that one right. The other thing about messaging, so DMs. So here's the other thing is that we talk about the 100 club. So we say 20 connection requests a day and then 80 DMs a day makes you 100 a day, right? So hit the 100 club each day. So what do we mean by DMs? Well, they're messages to your first degree connections. And those messages of first degree connections could be part of that sequence that we just showed you. So once they're connected, then you can send those messages like on day, you know, week 2, week 3, week 4. But also your other current connections can be put into a separate campaign, and they also could be pointed towards your new event or community or whatever it is as well. So you don't have to do 20 in total. It can be 20 connection requests and 80 messages creating the 100 club. Now that 80 messages is not as an exact science as the 20 connection requests, but it becomes like a nice target to hit your 100 club each day. And it's a good rough guide for that. Cool, gang, cool. Further questions, gang, or thoughts? Cool. The few of you having to dash. So just before anybody dashes, just as a final reminder, thanks, Gary, for everybody doing it. There's my link in the chat there. I'm sticking around. We're coming up to the end today, but I'm sticking around for 5 minutes or so. If people want further questions, this is quite a nice time. If you have like that question that's on the tip of your tongue, but you haven't quite answered it, just answer now. There's no pressure. I'm just going to hang around. If you're shooting off, fantastic to see you. And thanks for participating. Thanks for the people who booked into my diary. Looking forward to speaking to you. And Craig, conversion rate on the 100 club. That's a real difficult rate to go for, because it's going to be based upon who you're targeting, what you're doing with it, and where you're pointing them towards. But we are seeing about 5 people joining our community a day coming from this sort of activity. So that's great, you know, in terms of what we're doing. That's not a 5% conversion rate, I don't think, because I would probably argue that there's a blend of 80 messages and 20 connection requests, and at any given time, not everybody's getting directed towards our community. Some people are just being asked questions to reply. And so when you're just trying to create conversations and then moving people through, but from our activity, we're looking at about 5 community members a day coming from this Monday to Friday, because the weekends is obviously goes a little bit less. You still get a couple, but they're more picking up on their old messages as opposed to proactive. So that for us is a good measurement. Wicked. Any further questions in here? There is some interesting ways of being able to send more than 100 connection requests. I think Alex says they're sending 700 connection requests a month. So it's obviously more than 100 a day, but he's saying he's got a 70 SSI, which means that his social selling index is high because he's got a high trust level. When LinkedIn allows you to move those measurements a little bit more than 100 a week. Couple of things. One, if you've got Sales Navigator, it lets you get away with a little bit more of this kind of pushing it. And also if you've got a high connection response rate, i.e. for every 10 connections you send out, 5 actually connect, that's going to put a level of trust out. And so therefore you can push those numbers a bit more. But as someone who's advising new people going into this, don't try and go there. Like ratchet down and always try and stay below the 100, because then it's safe as houses. And then when you get fancy and learn a bit more about it, you can start to rank it up a bit more. But for the time being, keep it below that 100. Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much. Gan says, how do I check my SSI? Really great thing. We talk about this a lot when we're talking about All-Star Profile. You just go, what is my SSI? This is free for anybody who wants to work on. Oh, hello. Not your Sid. And then you can just go click on here and you'll be able to see your social selling index, so you can get your score. You need to be logged into your LinkedIn account, and here you go. So I've got 75, and this is my social selling score. So it will show me where I need to improve in terms of my current social selling index. So for example, establish your professional brand. So this is things about actually putting content out that's getting likes and posts and stuff. Find the right people. So this is around actually using the right tools and getting a higher rate of connection in, engaging with insights. So that's things like sharing content, sharing posts, and also making sure that you're looking and commenting on other people's stuff. And then building relationships is getting connections and finding the right people, right? So there's a few. I do a whole. If you want to look at how this works in a bit more detail, if you go into LinkedIn for Breakfast, this is $1 Million Sprint. So this is the free community. If anybody isn't part of this free community, just Google LinkedIn for Breakfast, you'll find it. If you go into the classroom and go to replays, and I'll stick it in the chat, but there is this session that we do on All-Star Profile. Here's one of them. And then this one here was a session we did all about the SSI. Here we go. Perfect. Great. There you go. So it's in the chat now. Cool. Any further questions, gang? All right. Okay. Well, look, thanks all for participating. I hope you enjoyed that. And remember, we have a community corner on Friday in the community, so do look out for that. And I'll see you this time next week for another fun-packed episode of LinkedIn for